Hey guys, it's the morning after all that craziness in DC yesterday. Those of you who were paying attention, Capitol Hill got stormed. A lot of finger pointing going back and forth. I want to give you some fresh perspective I'm not seeing. I'm a person that tends to follow the news, get a lot of feeds from different people, a lot of articles and things floating around, and I look at what's going on and I try to look for the answers. And people are frustrated. I mean, obviously, people are pointing the finger at Donald Trump, saying, "Hey, he got people enraged and they went out," and I think there's something to be said for that. Not a lot of people are pointing the finger at Joe Biden, but I think Joe Biden's got a role in this too. People are upset and frustrated about the election, and what has he done? He's come in and he said, "Hey, I won. Media says I won. Shut up. It's fair." Um, so there's a frustration going on here, right? There's a boiling point. Some people feel like they're not getting heard. And then what we keep hearing, and if you watch Congress yesterday, and this is not to say that anybody should have broke into the Capitol, completely condemn that, completely wrong. But if you watch the congressmen and senators, most of them are stepping up and saying, "Oh, we did a great job. We got disrupted. We went back. We voted. We did our job. We did our constitutional duty." You know, People are not enjoying the fact that these institutions just keep moving forward, and people don't trust the institutions, right? Very few people trust the media. Marco Rubio made a great speech last night talking about some of the things of communism, his grandfather, and then moving forward. He's basically saying nobody trusts any conveyor of information. There is virtually nobody here in the entire United States that can come out and make a statement and people will believe them. And Donald Trump has a block of maybe used to be, maybe yesterday's events knocked that down some, but he has a block of maybe, a quarter of America that will say, yes, he's telling the truth. And Joe Biden has a block of maybe, obviously from a voting perspective, more than 50%, but let's call it maybe 40% of America say, oh yeah, Joe Biden's telling the truth. Both of them have been caught numerous times in lies. Both of them have been linked to potential corruption scandals. So neither one of them has a clean reputation. Both of them have things you can point to say either one's wrong. But the answer that keeps being put out there is trust the institutions. And if you go back and you think about it, our institutions are based on trust. People need to trust the system. We do what we do because we believe the American system works, right? You vote, you get elected representative, you believe that elected representative is going to do what they're supposed to do. And if they don't, you vote them out and you start over again, and, you get a fresh cycle. But there's a lack of accountability. And some of this is, new because people don't have the trust they used to have. We are living in a new information age, and our government has not caught up to it, right? Cameras, verification. There's a lot that could be done to add a lot of confidence to systems. But what we hear, particularly from a Joe Biden type person and from our members of Congress on both sides of the aisle, is trust the institutions, trust the systems. Well, people are done with that. They don't trust the institutions. They don't trust the systems. They want verification. They want to see what's going on. And this is a system-wide problem. The other thing that's come up too is, something that we have on the state law level that we don't have in the federal system, is often term limits, because a lot of these people, especially when you listen to them speak, it's all institutional, right? Like our institutions, our processes. Yes, we have a constitution, and I believe we should follow the constitution. I am a strong proponent of, following the constitution as it's written. It sets the rules of the game. We all know what to expect. The problem is these institutions get so deep that sometimes what happens is it appears people are more interested in their institution within the Constitution than how the entire system works, right? The Constitution is set up on dependencies. You have three different branches. You have systems of states and federal government, and everything is supposed to work together. And the founders, they did a wonderful job of trying to balance those competing interests to say we've got, states going to have these powers, federal government's going to have these powers, Congress, judiciary, executive, and they try to balance everything out to make everything have, as they say, checks and balances. And they did a great job of that early on. But now these institutions have taken on a life of their own. The presidency has taken on a life of its own. And of course, now we have all the executive orders in modern times. The federal government is now an institution that is so powerful in and of itself. And what people say is trust the institutions, but people don't trust the institutions. And people are getting desperate, right? And we're seeing this on both sides. If you look at some of the things you're seeing, you look at the summer protests, tear down the government. We don't trust it. We don't trust the police. We don't trust the systems. We don't trust the government to not abuse our citizens, right? And to, not make arrests in a way that's nonviolent and not be racial discriminatory, right? If you look at the summer's events with the different groups that were protesting in summer, they had that same issue. And if you look at yesterday's event, and again, not okaying either of them, right? Both of them are very extreme, acting out lawless. They should be contacting representatives, getting people voted out, changing the institutions, bottom up, right? That's the way we should do it, is within our Constitution, if at all possible. The groups yesterday that attacked the Capitol may have been instigated by some people, but regardless, there were a lot of people who were, quote unquote Trump supporters that went into the Capitol. They have the same issues that the people from the summer do, which is they don't believe in the institutions, right? Both of them have the same core problem. It's interesting. I mean, you look, and they're actually on the health freedom side, where I do a lot of work with my nonprofit. You see the Trump supporters and the Black Lives Matter supporters actually rallying together because they both have freedom. And the summer rallies and yesterday's rally turned into, an unlawful attack, were both guided in the process of we don't trust the institutions. The institutions have let us down. We don't trust the police to do the right thing. We don't trust the court system to police the police. We don't trust that whole institution. That is what the core of a lot of summer rallies and problems are: racial injustice, because we don't trust the institutions. And then yesterday, what is it again? We don't trust the institutions, right? We don't trust how everything works together. So we're going to, basically ignore it because we don't trust it. We don't believe in it. People ignored the system in the summer. They ignored the system yesterday because they don't believe in it. If they believed in it, they would keep trying to work on it. But what's happening is people are feeling desperation. If you listen to the people in the summer, they were saying, we're so desperate, we're losing lives. We feel like we're going to get unjustly taken, that we have to rebel. And if you look at the core yesterday, was people feel like the system's not representing them either, right? Both have the same problem. We don't trust the media to report to us, right? Everybody started to go to their own media, just like what happened in the 1850s in the U.S. If you read Doris Kearns Goodwin's book on Lincoln, she did a piece on Masterclass, and in the end of that, if you watch this video about how she did the writing, she talks about the fact that in the 1850s, people were splitting media just leading up to Lincoln's presidency. We're seeing the same thing, right? People trust different facts. They trust different sources. There's no one universal believable source, as Marco Rubio pointed out to us, right? We can't point to somebody we believe because we don't believe the whole system. And so one group that's fringe doesn't believe the system. Another group that's fringe doesn't believe the system. But what's troubling is we've got people on both sides of the aisle that don't believe the system. And if you add those two together, you take the fringe left that don't believe the system, fringe right that don't believe the system, add them together, that's a lot of Americans. And that's a lot of political power. And that's a lot of political instability. You keep a democracy together by having people believe in the systems, right? People go to work and pay their taxes and vote and, and obey the police officers because they believe the system is working for them. When you take away their property, you take away their ability to have a job, you take away their ability to drive down the street without feeling they're going to be abused. All of these all together point to the fact people do not believe in our institutions. And so people need to be doing some deep dives. And I'm talking about governmental leaders. I'm talking to Donald Trump, whatever role he takes in the future, Joe Biden. I'm talking about members of Congress. I'm talking about the judiciary as well. You need to do the work to get people to believe in you. Supreme Court, you need to answer more questions about why you're not taking cases. Joe Biden, you need to do more than say just trust the system. You need to show us why we trust the system. Members of Congress, same thing. Don't trust the system. We need to see how the sausage is made. We need to understand why you're giving these deals out that you're giving out, right? We want to understand the system behind the system. There needs to be a whole lot more transparency. In this age where people are leaking videos, leaking stories, leaking information, we need a whole lot of transparency. And I'm not seeing it out of either side here in America. So I blame you, the political leaders, the quote unquote leaders, the people that we have put in office to serve us. You need to get to work and you need to increase transparency, federal, state, wherever. We need to know what's going on because if we don't know what's going on, we don't trust it. We don't trust that backdoor stuff as the American people. So I hope this is a rallying call and I hope we can unite across sides, right? There are people on both sides that don't trust the institutions. And for those of you who do believe in the institutions, think the government's great and it's fixing everything, you need to fix the problem because of the people that don't believe in the system. You can see what they're doing. Doesn't make it okay, right? Doesn't make it okay to burn stuff down. Doesn't make it okay to break into capitals. Doesn't make it okay to injure people, right? Not okay. But if you don't believe in if these people don't believe in the institutions and you don't do anything to allow them to believe in the institution, they're going to get more and more desperate, particularly as their jobs go away with coronavirus, as they get forced to take vaccines or do other things to trust the system, right? The whole system's answer to people not trusting the system is to say, trust the system more. And that's not the answer. The answer is somewhere else. The answer is to earn trust, not say trust the system, not force people to trust the system, not talk about trusting the system, to build systems of trust. We need to be more transparent as a government. We need to get that information to people. We need to let them see behind the things. We need them to understand what's going on, why we're making the compromises, and close off those backdoor deals that have been so common in Washington politics. People need to know what's going on. People don't trust. They don't trust on the left. They don't trust on the right. And if we don't fix this, eventually people are just going to say, hey, I'm out, right? I've lost my house. I've lost my job. I'm going to lose my money. I don't care. I'm just going to go, do something extreme because you throw me in jail. I've got nothing to lose. That's where a lot of people were. You saw that yesterday. You've seen it over the summer. You're going to see more of it unless we fix it. And that's not saying it's a threat. It's just the reality of what people are doing, right? I mean, I don't want to do that. I'm not going there. I mean, I'm lucky. I live, a fairly comfortable life, right? I'm in a good spot. But there are people that are getting more and more desperate. They're getting deinstitutionalized. And when they're not part of the system, they want to tear the system down because they don't think the system's fair. We got to fix this. We got to get ahead of this problem now before it gets a lot worse because we're sitting on a precipice. It is about to get worse unless we fix it. All right, folks, hope that's food for thought. Looking forward to reading your comments, seeing what you think. Share it with your friends, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll catch you guys soon.